Welcome to this Get Ready With Me. Today this video will be about my first offer for a dental hygiene position as a new graduate. So right now I'm at the hotel. I'm actually at the hotel for the company. They flew me out to a different state to go to headquarters to learn about the company. I just washed my hair, I blew dry, and now I'm going to straighten it before we head to an event that they're throwing, a dinner party. So I've been an expanded duties dental assistant for a little over 13 years. And what that means is that you're able to perform more functions such as like coronal polishing, placing dental sealants and things like that. So I wanted to go back to school for dental hygiene. So I decided to enter into an accelerated program that was 18 months and you graduate with your associate's degree in dental hygiene. So the reason I chose to do that is because you get about double the pay, sometimes triple the pay of a dental assistant, and you are more of a provider. You are considered a provider in a dental office. It's just time for me to move on. So with a background in the field of dentistry, I felt like I would do well in an accelerated program. So I recently just graduated. Well, I haven't had my graduation yet, but we had to take 3 different exams in order to become registered as a dental hygienist. We took a clinical exam where we were in the actual clinic, in a clinic setting, and we performed on a mannequin and we removed calculus and periocharted and calculus detected. And then we did a written clinical, so the written portion to that. And then you have to take a national board exam. And these tests will be determined by the state that you're in. So I took the clinical and the written clinical, I want to say a day apart from each other while I was still in school. And the whole class took it together. The school had scheduled it for everyone already. And then after you passed all your classes, that's how our school worked. If you passed all your classes, you had to send in a request to the school to give you like the okay to take your national boards. You actually had to pass what we call a HESI exam. Now, I know a lot of people didn't have to take a HESI exam like years back. Like my instructor said that they never had to take that exam. But the HESI exam is basically like it's called the green light exam. It's supposed to be harder than the national boards. They want you to score at least a 74. I want to say it's a 74 or a 75 in order to get the green light to even take your national boards. So we took that exam maybe a month or so. Yeah, a few months or a month or so before we were done with school. And I scored the highest out of my class. Only 2 people passed it the first try. I passed it with an 86 and the other person passed, I think it was like either 74 or 75, whatever the passing range was. So basically, if you passed that technically you were likely to pass the national board exam. So I did that, and after that, it was just like go time, like, okay, let's do this. Everybody was so nervous. Everybody was so scared. I actually prepared for that HESI exam as if it was the board exam because I had never even heard of it. I thought it was like way more serious than what it was. But all I did was go over all of my books. I started going over the books that we studied in class and just kind of refreshing my memory on everything. And that worked for me. So after that, my last day of school was April 17th, and I had to wait for the director of the dental hygiene program to send over the okay. I had registered to take it and everything. They contact the school sends over the green light, and then they send me an email to allow me to schedule for the boards. So I scheduled for my board exam on May 8th, and I took my exam, and it took me 6.5 hours. I took all the breaks that they allowed. I think they allow you 9 hours to take the test. I took all breaks and it took me 6.5 hours. They broke up the test in different sections, like 100 questions, break, 100 questions, break, 150 questions, break. 150 questions, break, I want to say. No, 75 questions, break, 75 questions, done. Okay, so that exam was so hard. The first set of questions are called discipline questions, and I'm assuming they call it discipline because the questions, they give no context for the answer. So they'll ask you a question, and usually if you don't know it, you try to make an educated guess. These questions were like, and it gave you no clues to answer. It's like either you knew it or you didn't know it. So, and then they never ask the same question about the same topic twice. So usually, like, if you don't know answer, you think you can just say, oh, I'll come back to that if I get a clue from another question. No, none like that. So after the first 100 questions, I took a break and I was about to cry. I was like, why do I think I can do this? They told me to wait. They told me, nobody else is taking this. Still to this day, out of my class, as far as I know it, no one else has taken the board exam yet. And today is June 14th. Okay, well, anyway, so I was just panicking. I was like, oh, well, I wasn't focused for some reason. I just was all over the place. My mind was all over the place. So I just kept going, and I said, well, I'm just giving my best. Anyway, fast forward. The last two groups of questions are case study questions, where you have a specific case and you look through their chart, you look through their x-rays, you look through their perio charting, and then they ask specific questions to your case. If anything, that is the reason why I passed my national boards, because the other questions were just so hard. It was just like questions that didn't have to do with anything. They use terms, whereas, I would say common terms that are taught at school, they did not use those terms. They used other words that were relatable to those terms, and you just had to kind of know, okay? Well, anyway, long story short, I had got a call right after school. I had got a text from a recruiter. I think they got my information from my school. So she called me and she texted me and she said, hey, I have a position for you out in this city. If you're available, we'd love to set up an interview. And I looked up the city, and the city was like an hour and a half away from me. So I text her back and I said, thank you for the offer. I appreciate it, but that location is just too far for me. Okay. So then she said, okay, and I hadn't heard from her. And that was the end of that. So she said, okay. And then that was that. So fast forward to, I want to say a few weeks later, she texted me again, the same recruiter. And she said, hey, I would love to set up an interview with you to discuss possible positions with this company. So I said, okay, well, now's good. We can talk now. So she was like, oh, great. That kind of just worked out. So she called me. She was a really nice lady, and she's talking to me about the company, and she's saying how we have these 2 locations, and one of the locations, the hygienist is about to go on maternity leave, and they would love for me to cover for her for the 2 months. And she goes on to tell me about all the benefits of the company. Okay, so wait, let's rewind. So this particular company is a company I've heard of for years. You hear it's a popular company in the dental world. But I had heard some not so good things about this company, and I kind of had already formed like a opinion about this company. And when she was contacting me, I kind of was just like, yeah, no, I'm not going to work for her, but I kind of want to just see what they're offering so I can see what's out there as a new hygienist, because I really don't have a clue type of deal. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So she's telling me, you know, she's like, yeah, we have these 2 locations. And I was like, yeah, those locations are way too far. So we have a couple businesses that, a couple offices that are in my area that are closer to me, but they did not have available positions. Okay, sorry y'all, my phone died and then I had to keep going because I'm on a time frame and I gotta get to the dinner party that they're throwing. Okay, so we'll just pick up where we last started. They didn't have any positions that were close in my area. So basically she was saying that they would get me started in this area that was far out, and then when a position became available they would just move me over. That way I would get started, which I would already be in the system and I can just do an easy transfer over. Okay, so she said, I'd like to set you up an interview with the district managers and recruiters, etc., etc. So I went on the interview. I went to the office and I met with everyone and everything went good. And basically what they were telling me was that you have a set base rate, but they also work off of bonuses. And basically there's 2 different types of hygienists in their offices. One is a lead hygienist and one is an associate hygienist. And depending on which one you are, you get a certain amount of a percentage of your commissions based off of how much production you bring in and based off of the reviews of your patients. Okay, so let me backtrack. Okay, before I went and did the interview, she was saying that, okay, so before I even agreed to do the interview, okay, yeah, let me start over. So before I even agreed to do the interview, I was just basically telling her like, no, that's too far for me. You know, it just wouldn't work out for me. And she was saying, well, what about if we give you a hotel room? What if we give you a hotel for 5 days out the week? You know, you just go home on the weekends. And would that be easier for you? And it'll be just for the 2 months. Just for the 2 months, you can just do that. And I was like, well, you know, that works out good. But, you know, me and my fiance, we are sharing a car right now. And he would still need to get to work. So that wouldn't work for me. And she said, well, what about we give you a rental car? What if I can get the doctor to, you know, go ahead and give you a rental car and the hotel? That way, you know, it's just for 2 months. Would you be able to do that? And I said, you know what? That sounds good. That sounds good. But let me go ahead and speak with my fiance about it, see how he feels about it, and I'll get back with you. So me and Andre were talking about it, and I'm like, it's just 2 months, you know, we can go for the interview and kind of see what they're talking about. You know, they're giving me a rental car, they're giving me a hotel room. I can come home on the weekends. Y'all can come up there. It'll be summertime. The kids can come swim in the hotel, yada, yada, yada. So, so she said, okay, well, go ahead and do the interview and then we'll discuss it and hopefully we can send over an offer letter. Okay. So I went on an interview. The interview went well. I spoke with like all the lead recruiters who were there from out of town and everything. I spoke to their hygienist, and the hygienist, she was saying good things. She was saying like, yeah, you know, just giving me kind of all the information of the company. And she had been there for, I think, I want to say 3 years or something like that. Okay, so I got back with my recruiter. And she said, okay, everything went great, you know, with the person who I interviewed with. She said, we'd like to send you over an offer letter and see what you think. Okay, sorry about that. My camera kept dying. My charger wasn't working. I don't have all the stuff that I need because I'm at the hotel, but let's continue. So we just came back from the meeting and this is what I wore. It just was business casual. I wore these little cute shoes. This cute little elbow things. Okay, so when I spoke to the recruiter over my state, she was saying that, okay, since you don't have your dental hygiene license yet, and I'm still waiting for, at this point, I didn't even know if I passed my boards yet. And she was saying, okay, well, since you don't have your license yet, I see that you are a DA, and we can start you off as a hygienist assistant until you get your license. And then that way we'll just move you right on over. So I said, okay. So it just seemed like they were just trying to get me in, even though I didn't want to start as a DA. I felt like I was ready to work, and I did want to, if this was going to be the business that I chose, I did kind of want to get my foot in the door. So I said, okay, let's agree to it. Send over the offer letter. I'll review it. So they sent over the offer letter, and they had the pay rate on there for DA as lower than, we never discussed the payment for DA, but the payment that the amount that they sent over was like $5 less than what I already make as a DA. And then also the pay rate that we discussed for hygiene was a different amount that my recruiter had discussed with me. So at this point I was like, maybe everything that people have been saying about this company is true. And I had a lot going on. My daughter's graduating high school. She is having a graduation, prom, all these different things. My little kids are graduating. And I just had all this stuff going on. And I was like, I didn't really want to deal with the hassle of getting a rental car and checking in the hotels and doing all these different things just to be the dental assistant. So I was like, just don't worry about it. I can't do it. So I contacted my recruiter and I said, after reviewing the offer, basically kindly, I have to decline. It's not a right fit for me. And she's like, what is it? She's like, I bet you it's the pay, isn't it? Isn't it the pay? I can fix that. Can you call me and let's talk about it? So I was like, okay. So I called her and I just said, well, first, the DA rate is like $5 less hourly than what I'm already currently at. The amount is not the amount that we discussed for hygiene. And also, it's not going to benefit me to get a rental car because I'm still paying for gas to drive 2 hours every day, or 3 hours because it's an hour and a half away, basically every day. So it has to benefit everyone. And she said, okay, how about I do this? How would you feel if I got you a full reimbursement rate for gas? So you just save your receipts. We'll pay for all your gas once you turn in your receipts. And I'll have them change those pay rates for you. And I was like, well, at this point, you can't beat that. I was looking for more pay, but she did end up giving me that pay based off of just my history and our conversation and our interview, and what I already knew and what they believe that I was capable of doing as a dental hygienist, regardless of if I'm fresh out of school. So I was supposed to start on a Tuesday. That Monday was my daughter's graduation. So I was supposed to start that Tuesday. I still had a lot going on, trying to get my daughter closed out at school, me, myself finishing my program, having my award ceremonies and all these different things, my kids' ceremonies, family coming out of town, planning parties for everybody, my kids' birthdays. Everything was just all at the same time. I had a lot going on. So Friday, no one contacted me. And at this point, I'm like, well, they haven't contacted me. I'm still supposed to have a rental car set up. I'm still supposed to have hotel set up. And nobody had contacted me on Friday. So Monday, they called me and she's like, hey, it was a new person. This is the manager for that location that I was going to go to. She was over that location. I just wanted to make sure everything was good for tomorrow. And I said, well, no one has contacted me about anything, about a rental car, about anything. And she said, okay, well, when's a good date for you to start? Let me talk to them. Maybe they just haven't had a chance to reach out to you. She was like, well, when do you actually want to start? And I said, well, actually, what would be better for me will be the following week. And I was not trying to give them a hard time. It just really was. I had a lot going on and they hadn't contacted me yet. So I just was under the impression that maybe they weren't ready for me to start yet. So I had already had engagements that I had to start planning, just getting everything taken care of and squared away. So I said, honestly, it would be best for me to just start the following week. And she was like, well, actually, that will be okay because we wanted to start you with dental hygiene training. We were going to start you off as a DA, but we don't have to do that. We'll just go ahead and when you start, you'll just jump right into your hygiene training. And I was like, great, because honestly, originally I agreed to start as DA, but over time, as I thought about it, I didn't want to it's a different pay. I didn't just pay $70,000 to go to school to just be making the same amount of money, especially when it's so many other things I have to do. So basically, I was just getting started because that's what they requested of me. They didn't need me to be a dental assistant, but they wanted to kind of lock me in so that I can just already be in and just everything raw. So I said, okay, the next week. And she said, okay, actually that's fine. That works well. You'll actually start on Tuesday because that Monday was a holiday. So she said, and you're actually going to be changing offices. So now at this point, I'm no longer driving to the hour and a half, the office that's an hour and a half away. She said, you'll be doing your training at your office that's in your area. I didn't end up needing a rental car. I didn't end up needing a hotel room. I went and I started my training and met the doctor, and the doctor at this office ended up being, one day me and Andre was out to eat and we were all talking, and the doctor was saying how he was from Louisiana, and we were saying, well, we just moved here from Louisiana. And they're like, well, what'd y'all move here for? And I'm like, because I'm in dental hygiene school. And his wife was like, well, he's a doctor. It ended up being that doctor, which was so crazy to me. I ended up starting the training. First day, everything went good. Everything went well. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of information, but it was good. So second day rolled around, same thing. Training was good. Everything went well. Third day came, my information in the system updated. And when it said my pay rate, it was the pay rate for the DA. So I contacted my lady and I'm like, hey, the pay rate is still not updated and my account is still having the pay rate of the DA. And she's like, well, did you get your license yet? And I was like, no, I didn't get my license yet. And she said, oh, okay, well, it's no way for me to go into the system and change the pay rate without you having your license. And I said, okay, well then I'd rather to just postpone training until I get my license. I'm like, just to be clear, for dental hygienist training, I'm going to be getting paid dental assistant rate. And she's like, yes. And then I felt a little off about that because on these trainings, we were on Zoom calls with new dental hygiene recruits from all over America. So from all different states. And a lot of these people had already been starting also, but they were not dental assistants. They were new grads also. So I'm thinking like, well, are you paying, what rate did y'all come up with for these new grads if they're not dental assistants? What rate? You know, that was never discussed. But I just felt like if I'm training for a hygienist, to be the hygienist, I should get my hygienist rate. The second day of my training, they actually sent over my board results. So I found out, I got my board results as I was on training for my job. I seen it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing training. I'm checking, I'm like, I passed. So I found out that I passed while I was doing training. So I was so excited. And I'm like, okay, now I gotta go get my background check. I gotta go up to my school. I gotta get my letters of recommendation. I gotta make sure they sent all that over. I just felt like working as a dental assistant when I'm at work until 5 o'clock. Everything is closed by the time I get off of work. I can be being proactive about getting my license versus just waiting around as a DA for my next off day or requesting a day off while I'm doing training or waiting until training is over to get all my credentials in for my actual license. So that's why I told them that I like to postpone my training. One, because of the pay. I didn't feel like that was fair. I didn't want to work for a DA pay if I'm training for a hygiene. And two, because I got stuff to do. I need to be getting my stuff together for my license. Stand up for yourself. Don't accept what is less. Know what you deserve. If you know you deserve what you deserve, then you request that. And if it cannot be fulfilled, another office will be able to fulfill that. I think that because in the beginning, I was so unsure about working for this company and I knew I didn't want to travel the far distance, I felt like that gave me more confidence to speak how I felt and be like, well, no, that's too far. That's not going to work for me. Or, yeah, well, you're going to give me a hotel, but then I still don't have a car, so that's not going to work. I was not expecting them to give me everything that I requested, but because I didn't really want that position in the first place, because I really did believe that it wouldn't be beneficial for me to accept that position. But then to see that the company was like, well, we got this, well, we got this, well, we got this. So now going forward with any job, regardless of if this is the job I want or not, I'm going to at least request what it is that I want, because what's the worst that can happen is that they say no. Depending on all the other benefits that they have, it'll be up to you to make that decision on if you want to accept less than what you originally had wanted. And just because you are a new grad does not mean that you are less capable. You may have less experience, but you still know what you are doing. You are still understanding how to detect abnormalities in the mouth. You are still doing non-surgical therapy on people. You are still numbing accurately. You are still perioturning accurately. That's still your profession. Just because you are new at it doesn't mean that you should take this huge pay cut. If you are capable to fulfill the duties of that title, if you feel like you can meet their standards. In dental hygiene school, you have about 4 hours for one patient. But when you get into the real world, you're getting 1 hour per patient. So a lot of students are usually worried about not having enough time, or feeling rushed, or feeling like, I can't do this. How am I going to clean in 1 hour? But the reason why it takes so long in dental hygiene school is because you're going through all these ropes for this one patient, because you have instructors checks 2 times on this one or 3 times on this patient. The doctor comes and do an exam. You're filling out all this extra paperwork. It's just monitored more. It's just more due diligence because you are a student. But in the real world, it's not like that. Your doctor is trusting you to make the right decision. So if you don't feel confident in making that call, or saying, oh, this person needs a scaling or root planning, or this person needs to be on a perio maintenance recall, if you don't feel comfortable making those diagnosis for your patients, then you should, if you know you're going to need a little extra help and you're going to need a little more time and you will be making the office less money, then okay, maybe you should think, hey, okay, I'm not going to just request this high amount. You know, you take that amount until you work up, and maybe ask your office, well, do I have a grace period? Can I do this for 3 months? And then after 3 months, have a review and an option to have an increase in pay. With my expanded duties dental assistant license, I basically acted as a provider in a pediatric office. I had 2 chairs that I ran. I polished, cleaned, x-rays, dental sealants. I had already done those things in a very busy practice. What they were requesting of me, I feel like I could fulfill it. And if this hygienist can make this amount, but why shouldn't I, just because they've been doing it for 2 years and I just graduated? I ended up letting her know that I wanted to postpone the training until I got my license. And she said, okay, that's fine. They signed me up for this program where they paid for me a flight and a hotel room, which is where I'm at now, to come out to their headquarters and to kind of get hang out and get an idea of what the company is about. So tonight was just a dinner. We went to this really nice restaurant downtown, and it was different new grad hygienists from all over, from Arizona, from Atlanta, from St. Louis, from Alabama. And they were just congratulating us on finishing school and saying how important we are and how we make such a big difference in the dental community. And it was just a great experience. They had, we all did champagne toast, and it was really cute. Tonight was dressy casual, and everybody flew in today, got checked in. We went to have the dinner, we did some networking, and we came back to the hotel. So tomorrow we're going to start early in the morning. We're going to actually go to the headquarters, and tomorrow is scrub day, so we're all wearing our scrub. Phone had died, so I couldn't get any footage from the dinner tonight, but I have a little video I'll put in. It was really fun, really cute, really festive. I enjoyed it. I got to speak with a lot of the ladies who were hygienists that used to work in the clinic, but they're no longer clinical. They are recruiters for the company, and dental hygienist support team leaders. They have a whole system where leaders for hygiene specifically, that's all they focus on. They give you everything you need. They support you if you want your office to get new materials, you don't feel like you're hitting your goals. They help you, they train you, they give you all the tools that you need to be successful, to hit all of your goals that you and your office came up with. So I love that. You get to choose your own schedule hours. So you get to say, hey, I want an hour for Profi, I want an hour for 2 quadrants of SRP, or apparel maintenance. I want this amount of time. They let you choose your schedule. So that's what I do love about that. My registration, they're saying it would take 4 to 6 weeks once you send it in. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for them to review it. They put in your license number, and that day that they put your license number in, you literally have that license number. You don't have to wait for them to mail you your certificate. You can just give your office that license number and you are registered and you can start working. I should have mine by the end of July. They were very adamant to say, well, we can't really tell you for sure, but it's looking like one of the offices closer to you will be ready for another hygienist. I'm not sure after I get licensed where I will be placed or how that will work, but I will keep you guys updated if you want to know more about that. Go home after the headquarters. I'm at the headquarters all day, and then I fly back home, and I guess we'll go from there. So if you want to know anything else about hygiene, the differences between a dental hygienist and a dental assistant, just let me know. I'm not really sure where I'm taking this content. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll try and get back to you because I can. I mean, I am very busy. I'm a mom, I'm a partner, I'm a dental hygienist. So I'll be working. But let me know if you have any questions. Stand up for yourself. Fight for what you know you deserve. They say that the main reason why men get paid more than women is just simply because women don't ask for that raise or for that higher pay or for that car or for whatever that is. So ask for what you think you deserve and be realistic with yourself. And it's got to be worth it. If you know you're a hard worker, I know I'm a hard worker. I do my job. I go to work. I'm not lazy. I'm the first to volunteer because that's why I'm at work. I'm at work it's more than just a job. It has to be more than just a job because you're there so long. And the purpose behind why I love to go to work is because if I'm there, I know that it's a reason why God put me there. So, you never know what impact you have on someone's day, on someone's life by being kind or by being helpful or by performing a service for them. And that's truly where the joy comes from for me working in the dental field. And as a dental hygienist, that's the only field that focuses on preventative. And I love that. I am helping you. I am encouraging you. I am teaching you how to take care of yourself, to prevent cavities, to prevent gum disease, to prevent bone loss. And if y'all haven't noticed, I like to talk. So that's right up my alley. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.